we talking about when we actually speak about spiritual practice? And there are a couple of elements in here that I'm just going to point to. And nothing is unfamiliar to anybody here. Probably when you get up and leave this evening, you'll be able to say, he didn't tell me anything I didn't know. And that's a good thing. My basic point of view is this, that I think it's somewhat of a mistake to have the attitude or the frame of mind that says, there's something out there, somewhere out there, that I am in some way missing, that I need to get. You know, there's that piece of information. There's that particular workshop, that particular way of sitting down, that mantra that's going to make all the difference and just turn the tide for me. It's not out there. It's not. There is nothing whatsoever that any one of us requires to be added to us. It's all there. The problem is that it's deeply hidden. It's covered over. So the process as I describe it, I think in terms of the arithmetic of spirit, you know, like 2 + 2 is 4. Very often, this other mindset I was talking about adding something more to us, we think in terms of addition. There's something more we have to add, something we have to get, something we're missing. But the way I would say it is that it's really more about subtraction than addition. That the various kind of ways we have found to quite cleverly veil things from ourselves just simply need to be moved away. And part of this consideration about what it is that is of real value helps in this unveiling process. So probably one of the things that I would say is of great value, and I think it's one that gets very often insufficient attention. The word that's most commonly used is prayer. Prayer. The context we find ourselves most familiar with hearing that word is always somewhere where somebody is, well, I shouldn't say always somewhere, but often we hear it and we associate it with somebody who is basically begging somebody, some great somebody, often thought to be in the sky, most of the time elderly, often with long white beard, for something, some blessing, something for our families, something for ourselves, that's the normal association that people have with prayer. And I think it's a bad one, because it's like so many things where you have a word that could have a very rich and useful meaning. It gets misplaced. I mean, theosophists of all people should be aware of that. I mean, how often do I turn on the TV and there's some late-night history channel talking about the Theosophical Society's involvement in the Holocaust? Utterly ridiculous, non-historical, but repeated. So, obviously, what's required, though, when you use a word, I mean, very often when we say something, we think everybody receives the exact same meaning. Because it's a word in the dictionary, everybody understands what I'm saying, or what anyone is saying, which is not true. So when I'm talking about prayer, what is it that I'm actually talking about? If you look through every single tradition of religion or of spirituality, prayer is always present in some form or another. Buddhists tend to speak of it as mantra. So they'll be saying, if you ask a Buddhist what he's doing, he says, I'm saying my prayers. I'm saying the Om Om Mani Padme Hum is a prayer. Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha is a prayer. So when we talk about prayer, really what we're talking about is a recognition of something or whatever our concept might stretch to. People think in terms of a higher power, and they offer prayer in that direction. Some people use the word God, and their prayers are to God. Allah, Krishna, on and on. But prayer in many senses is, in its simplest form, it's a recognition of the divine. It's a recognition of the very highest that we have the capacity to reach out toward or to reach in toward. And as a practice, it's something that has this sort of self-expansive quality, where as we engage in it, it expands itself, because obviously there is no conception that can embrace the absolute, or that can embrace even the divine. It's an impossibility. So these prayers are this sort of, it's not something that need be voiced out of one's mouth, unless one chooses to do it that way. But the basic approach, I find it very well put. There's a beautiful prayer. There are many of them, but there's a beautiful one that appears at it's like the preface for this short book called The Cloud of Unknowing, which I just love the name, The Cloud of Unknowing. I mean, that's a book I want to read. But it's a book that was written anonymously. And if I'm not mistaken, it was in the 15th century.
Julian of Norwich.
Okay, Julian of Norwich. He has been named in 2012. Julian of Norwich. The prayer was anonymous that I'm about to hear. And it's a book that is more or less a handbook, a guide to a mystic approach to divinity, to the divine. But there's a prayer that opens that book, and that is anonymous. They don't know where it was, who wrote it. And the way it goes is this, and this one is offered up, it's in the Christian terminology, it's offered up to God. O God, unto whom all hearts lie open, unto whom desire is eloquent, and from whom no secret thing is hidden. Purify the thoughts of my heart with the outpouring of your Spirit, that I may love you with a perfect love and praise you as you deserve. Can you tell me that's not beautiful? It doesn't make any difference what your conception of God is. It doesn't even make any difference that God is included in that. But the sense of this openness, unto whom all hearts lie open. Desire is eloquent. And then this sort of invocation to purify the thoughts of my heart. Get the things out of the way. All of the things that block me from a deeper appreciation and a deeper modeling of all that you are. Get it out of the way. Purify the thoughts of my heart with the outpouring of your Spirit. Why? So that I may love you, so that I may be fully outgoing as you deserve and praise you as you deserve. And the praise isn't about beating on a Bible or any book. Don't beat on the voice of the silence either. The praise is about speaking something that very often is not spoken in our normal relationships. We find ourselves very often really dumbing ourselves down. really limiting ourselves in many ways and closing ourselves off to the things that would make us most happy. The sort of open connections with others. And, we make the, again, mistaken thought of dumbing others down, in the sense that who we're talking to tends to be, the person that we've known for however many years, the person we had an argument with the other day, or, the person that they're just very finitely identified. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, speaking as the divine presence, talks about the immortal ruler present in the hearts of all beings. So when we meet each other, normally we're meeting ourselves in terms of the stories that we have put on each other over a period of time. But if even momentarily we can kind of move that out of the way and embrace this idea of the eternal ruler, immortal, present, not just in my heart, but every being, then you get to flowers, you get to animals, you get to everything. That's the sort of praise, that's praise. To recognize is to praise, whether you say a word or not. And so when I talk about prayer, I'm trying to redefine this and bring it back into the scope of something that is actually usable. And this is not something that's difficult either.